Hi guys, welcome to Crypto Bin 101, the home of value and good information when it comes to cryptocurrency trading and investment. And this is the Bitcoin and Breakfast Show where we trade it and we do not gamble it. And if you're just joining for the first time, thanks for coming back. And if you are just joining for the first time, please and please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share, and turn on your notification bell. What is going on in the market? What is going on is really crazy, guys, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I told you guys yesterday, please stay away from the market except we have a breakout on a lower time frame. And I think I told you guys we can get into the market if we break above 87,000 US dollar, and that really happened immediately. The New York session open and we blast off the roof, and you can see BTC moved from that entry point, which is around 87,000, to about 93,000 US dollars. Yes, so what you need to do, maybe you didn't take the trade because I was not recording and the signal or the proof was not there yet. Now let's take a look at the chart quickly and see what we need to do. If you look at this, you find out that we have created a nice structure, and the buy, let me show you something here. You can see if we use our fib, we were expecting the market to touch 83,000, but it touches 83,700. But where the perfect entry would have been was around 83,300 thereabout. Now that the market didn't touch that and we got an entry around 87,000, even though you didn't take that, let's now say in a bigger picture, what should we do right now? Should we jump onto this movement that is going on? Yes, let's go back to 4-hour time frame to see what we should do. Because one thing you need to understand, market moving or an impulse movement doesn't mean you should get into the market. It might just be a first buy, then later the market will drop back. But if you look at this now, we have a structure that has been activated that shows us that now BTC is a buy. Even though let's say we missed 87,000 US dollar, there is another structure right here that gave us entry around 93,000 US dollars with our stop loss around 90,000 US dollar. But here's the catch. I told you guys that what I'm expecting BTC to do is to pull back or move ahead if we fail to break these 83,000. If you watched the show yesterday, I told you we are not in a sell-off, but we should just stay away from the market and look for entry back in a lower time frame. And that's why we got that 87,000 entry. But now look at what happened now. We failed to break this 83,000, which is where I believe if we should break it, we're going to have a sell-off. So what should we do now with our portfolio? Yes, we can get back into the market. One thing you need to know, you must calculate the entry to the stop out. Look at the stop out. That's about 10%. That is about 10%. So if you're not in the market already and you want to enter the market, possibly where you need to put your stop loss will be at 10% stop out. And if you don't want to use that, that means we need for this today's candle to finish, then we break above it, then we can say okay, we have a stop loss around, okay, actually I don't know where the today's candle is going to stop, but let's just say for argument's sake it stop around, let's say 95 or 94,000. Then if you calculate from 94,000 to the end of today's candle, in case of this, it's going to be around 3% stop loss. So this is my advice, or this is what I would say you should do if you did not enter at 87,000 US dollars. What our advice is, maybe we should wait for today's candle to finish. Because what if you enter now and today's candle turns into red? Your stop loss will be at 10%, and that will be too much. Except you want to go in and use lower time frame like 4 hours to leave the market, which that is not good for a sports trader and investor. You understand? Because for a spot trader and an investors, you need to get into the market when you know that the market is going to move and you can recover your swap fee and make some profit. It's not like leverage trading. Leverage trading can enter a trade now, leave the market, make a little loss, and cover it back within the next hour, 4 hour, or something like that. But if you're a spot trader or an investor, you need to make sure you enter when you know that the market is moving. So it's two things. If you take the buy now, because we've activated the buy, yes, we've activated the buy, but if you get into the market now, your stop loss is down here at 87,000, except today's daily candle finish, and we'll now have our stop loss at 90,000, be it with a kicker or engulfing candle. So I think the choice is yours. You need to make the right decision. Take a look at 10% stop loss. It's too high for me. I'm not going to lie to you. So if you're a spot trader and investor and you did not enter at 87,000 US dollars, I will advise maybe you just wait for today's candle to finish. When today's candle finish, if we are now able to break above today's candle, yes, we can now get into the market. But if you don't mind what the 10% differences looks like, you can join and just bear how it goes. And remember, this is not financial advice. It's just for educational purpose and entertainment. Make sure you do your own research and trade with the money you can afford to lose. But that's not only what I have to share with you with BTC. Another thing I want to share with you is, if at all you really want to join the market right now, because you can see it's a buy, you can switch to lower time frame like 4 hour and look for invalidation for 4 hour to get out of the market. Do you understand? We can do that too. Look for invalidation for 4 hours. So let's say you get into the market right now at 92,700 because you cannot wait for the pullback, or you cannot wait for the daily candle to finish. I will expect you to put your stop loss at 90,700. Why? Because that is another structure on a lower time frame, and that could just push the market back to around, let's use our Fibo. That could push the market back to around, it could push the market back to around 87,000, which was a previous entry, or 85,000. You see, so it's two things. You don't need to rush it. If you mix the 87,000 entry that I said yesterday, it's just better you wait for it to pull back. Or if you get into the market, you're going to hold on, even though it drops about 5%, 6%, you are not going to sell. But if you're going to ask my own opinion, advice is just for educational purpose and entertainment. Make sure you do your own research and trade with the money you can afford to lose. But to my own opinion, I'll say let's wait for today's candle to finish, because if we use this candle to enter the market right now, where the stop loss is about 10%, and that is too big. I don't want to know how your portfolio, how big it is. 10% loss is too much. So I advise, let's wait for today's candle to finish, or we get into the market now, then we know if we should break below 90,000 dollars, which is the beginning of today's candle, we are going to leave the market. But that is not good, because it has not shown that the market is invalidated. Do you get what I'm trying to say? The market is not invalidated. It's still a buy, even though the market should pull back this red candle. It's invalidated only when it breaks below 83,600 or 83,000. So that is what I'll have to tell you regarding BTC this morning. And also, you need to understand one thing, that if you were able to get into the market around that 87,000, you don't need to close, leave the market, just put your stop loss at 83,000, and from 87,000 to 83,000, that would be about 3% loss, and that is better compared to 10% loss if the market pullback. But is Bitcoin a buy right now? Yes, BTC has activated a buy, because we saw the pullback but didn't fall into the buying zone. Then we saw the buy up, and I told you guys yesterday, I said we have to stay out of the market, not because it's a sell, but just because we can buy it at a cheaper rate. So imagine leaving the market at 90K and buying back at 87. That's 3,000 gap, and that is good for the market. So that is that about BTC. BTC is now a buy right now. You should wait for today's candle to finish before you jump on it, or if you're going to buy right now at 92,000, depending on when you're watching the show, you can as well just use 4 hours to close, and that will be below 90,000. And that's why tomorrow's show is going to be very, very important, and you do not want to miss the live show. All right, let's move on to other assets, and we're going to take a look at altcoins. And if you look at altcoins, it's really, really crazy what is happening. It's crazy. Yes, we saw Ethereum dropped into the buying zone, because if you draw this hand like this, you can see we touched the buying zone exactly at 2,700. But let's go to lower time frame. Look at lower time frame. You can see after we have the lower time frame, it touches the 2007, which is a great way to get into the market. But if you did not get into the market yet, or you just want to get into the market, this is what you need to do regarding Ethereum, and I'll tell you just now. You can see we have the entry for Ethereum is going to be here at 2,714 thereabout. That's where the entry for Ethereum is going to be, because that's the pullback after we have the market move up. So now let's change it to green. It's a buy now. But now one thing you need to know, if you're not in the market at all, you should wait as well. Or if you get into the market, put your stop loss. Let's go to lower time frame. Put your stop out or your stop order at 2,900. If the market should break below 2,900, I think you should leave the market for ETH as well. But if you don't want to risk so much getting into the market right now and leaving your stop loss down here, that's about 12%. That is too much. That is too much. And remember, we have not broken the 3,180 to say we have confirmed the movement that the structure that was coming down is wrong. So since we've not broken that 3,001, anything can happen. We can touch it and market start coming out. So if you get in now, you'll be risking about 12% out of your portfolio, and that is too big. So my advice is, if you get in now, use 4 hours to leave the market. If you don't want to get in, wait, let today's candle finish. If it should finish green, if we break above today's candle, then we're going to use today's candle bottom as our stop loss, and that will be a nice trade where we might be risking maybe 3% or less, and that will be a great one. So that's that way. Ethereum is a buy. Let's go to Chainlink. If you look at Chainlink is looking more like the other what will I call it, altcoins is good. All right, it's fine. So let's go to Ethereum. Let me reload the network is a little bit slow. That's why it's not loading. I want the chart to load so we can